What is up, fellow humans? Colin here, the Wild CEO, back for another Ancestral Mind video. You know, every video that I've been doing on this channel has been carnivore, and that's fine. I think it needs awareness, and I'm exploring ideas like flexible carnivore and trying to reach more people with this idea of animal-based nutrition. But today I want to take a slight detour and get back to some of the fundamentals of why I found carnivore in the first place and why I even embraced it, because of the ancestral mindset. The idea that humans are mismatched to our modern environment. And that is what is the epicenter of all of our sickness and disrepair, okay? What does that mean though? What do we do with that? I always like to think about first principles. That's what I talk about on the Shut Up No One Cares podcast, a new show I'm doing. And I try to think about these on a daily basis. How can I get down to the first principles, the things that really matter, and then keep it simple so I'm focusing on those all the time, right? Well, one thing I've been doing, in case you might be able to tell, I've been getting more of a tan because I've been going outside because it's beautiful out here in Texas. It's starting to get very hot, of course, which is why I'm defaulting to tank tops. And that has always been a first principle, but when it is cold, because I grew up in Florida as a kid, I don't tend to like the cold as much. And so when it gets hot and warm, I like to go outside as much as possible. So during winter, when I was sick a couple times, there were some mold issues I dealt with, whatever, but also lack of vitamin D probably contributed. My health suffered as a result. Getting outside, making that a daily practice, walking around, moving. There's a trail in our neighborhood that we go to near the water. It's beautiful. We went there yesterday. Things like that. That's definitely first principle, getting outside, getting sun. So I put those all together as one first principle, get outside daily, and then I have one of my big health check boxes completed. The second big thing is, of course, if we're talking about carnivore, well, real food, real whole food. Which you can't really do carnivore. I guess you could do like a processed fake food carnivore, I guess, kind of. But even like the processing of meat, I think in some cases isn't that bad. So like you can't just lump everything into processed food and it means that it's bad. I mean, you know, you take an apple and you chop it down, it's processed. You take, you know, a bacon off of a slab, that's processed. You take a steak off of a prime rib and you have a single steak, that's processing. So it's not as simple as like processed or not. And even that being said, I think a lot of the processed meat type of research that has been done is garbage. So I don't even buy into the idea that processed meat has been researched and is bad for you. I actually don't buy that. I don't buy that at all, because all the research around it is like correlation, observational based nonsense. So whether you're carnivore or not, the big idea here is whole, real food. Taking raw, real ingredients, taking them in the kitchen, cooking them, eating them, using the right seasoning, not having artificial nonsense in there, etc. That's number two. Number three, the big one, just for today, because there's quite a few more of these, but the big other first principle is sleep. I'm considering doing a caffeine detox where I cut out coffee for a while. I've been kind of like slowly cutting it back. I was doing a large cold brew, now I'm doing a small. I have a little espresso machine at home, and if I'm gonna use that to get through the middle of the day slump, then I will do decaf. I don't think it's gonna be that hard for me to quit, but I do suspect that in the mornings, my body's used to getting that caffeine hit, and taking that out is probably gonna affect me in some way. But I've been hearing a lot of benefits of people doing that, and I think that I should probably take it out just as a test to see what happens, and then maybe just cut back on my caffeine intake in general and have it maybe a few times a week instead of every single day. I think that's gonna be beneficial for most people to do that. The reason I bring up caffeine is because of how it affects your sleep. There's a lot of research that shows that even if you have a cup of coffee early in the day, it can mess up your sleep at the end of the day. And that's not even people that are drinking like 3 to 4 or 5 cups a day. I mean, these people are literally addicted, and it's causing real harm. Sleep is that other first principle. Ideally, you're going to sleep when the sun goes down and when you get sleepy, and then you're waking up when the sun comes up. There's things like circadian rhythm and all those things. I used to be a night owl. I've been actually going to sleep a lot earlier since we've had our son. So I'm definitely benefiting in that way. I always kind of knew in the back of my head that I'd have to eventually get on like a more of a morning schedule, just because there's a lot of things that I want to do that in the morning. If I want to travel and go to events and do these things, like you can't really sleep to 12, 1 o'clock and expect to get the full experience. It's something that I've been planning to do. And now that I'm doing it, I will give you one hack for that though. Sound machine and orange hue bulbs. I don't know if the Philip bulbs will do it, but there's some like baby nighttime bulbs you can find on Amazon. They're like $20 a bulb, so you know they're not cheap. But I use those in my lamps in my room at night, and I'm telling you, since I've been doing that, and I use the F.Lux app on my Mac to reduce the blue light, keep it as orange as possible, I can't even stay up like I used to. Like even if I'm on the computer, big 27-inch monitor, I still get sleepy at the computer, and that used to never happen. Of course, I'm getting older. I turned 35 yesterday, so it's like that's a consideration. But sound machine, blue light bulb, and then maybe 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep, you can take something like ZMA or magnesium and then get a book of fiction to read. I don't last 10 minutes usually. If you struggle with sleep, I highly recommend some of these. And if you're shortchanging your sleep, if you're going to sleep late and then setting an alarm to wake up early, you are paying a health price. I just can't, like, I can't even emphasize it enough. Like, it's not worth it. Some of the top billionaires in the world, you know, Bezos, for example, he gets 8 hours every single night. I'm the same way since high school. When I made the connection that I didn't do well in school, I mean, I didn't do well anyways, but when I didn't have sleep, I didn't do well, plus I was not pleasant. And I would talk back to my teachers and get sent to timeout and do all these things. I was a zombie when I didn't get enough sleep. Being an entrepreneur, where I have to work for myself and I have to manage myself, I made the connection that if I don't get enough sleep, I'm going to be miserable. My work's going to suffer. And that's why even growing wild foods for 5 years, I was waking up 11, 12 o'clock. I was basically waking up whenever my body let me. And my employees kind of got in the habit that, okay, well, Colin's not up, so we're not going to try to ask him for something. And so that kind of actually worked in my favor because employees had to figure out how to do things for themselves, but that's a topic for another day. The key thing here is you have to make your sleep a priority. And it seems like the numbers are around 8 hours a day. Sometimes I get 7 and I feel okay. Sometimes I sleep 9 or 10 if I've been exercising a lot and I feel a little bit sore. Whatever. You need to let your body sleep and wake up without an alarm clock. This is a first principle of health. And if you try to convince yourself that it's anything but that, you're just lying to yourself. It is what it is. Just to review some of the big first principles of health, right? If each one of these is an area that you need improvement, then you know exactly what you need to work on. You don't need some new app or gadget or plan or whatever. You need to just go to that first principle and just get as good as you can at that. Getting outside, vitamin D, sunlight, movement, nature, all those things. Get out in nature and you get them all done. Real food. If you're doing carnivore, you're probably doing real food because you're probably cooking all your meals at home. If you're not, if you're eating out, if you're doing things like that, try to get your ingredients the best you can afford, get it in the kitchen, and that's where your meal should be. And then 3, sleep. Go to bed, wake up naturally when your body tells you. Use a blue light bulb, reduce blue light at night, or use a blue light blocking bulb, an orange bulb. And then use a sound machine like the Marpack, or there's a couple other ones on Amazon. These are the first principles of health. Like, these are the big things that for most people, they talk about, I can't lose weight, or I can't this, or I can't do that. Like, most of the time, it's optimizing one of these 3 things. Maybe they're not getting outside. Maybe they're not getting vitamin D. Maybe they're not getting enough sleep. Maybe their food isn't exactly dialed in. They're eating too much at restaurants, or they're eating like too easy on the go in bars and things like that. Almost everything that you want to do is found in these 3 first principles of health. Let me know what you think about this video, the style, and the topic. If you have any questions or comments you want to add to it. These are my mala beads. I had these on, and I used to wear these a lot before when I was heavily into meditation and mindfulness. And you'll see monks with these sometimes. And basically the idea is you do like a kind of a counting meditation where you kind of either count or connect the breath to each one. And it's just a way to focus. So I try to keep this in my car when I'm driving, and I just try to like do one at a time and then just kind of focus, think. And maybe that's a topic for another day, because mindfulness meditation, huge aspect of mental health. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, Colin here. Thanks for watching that video. I got a free PDF for you, the 7 principles of living wild. Short and sweet, not long, not gonna be a novel you have to read or anything, just a simple reference of the things that make you a healthy human. So click on the button below, get that right now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.